It's not just like now it's okay, white dude married to a black woman but doesn't even know she's black. Like that is something new that I don't think we've seen on film a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Or at least I
I
haven't seen.
I've read a true crime story on it, so that's different.
Yeah, a little different.
Where he like sued her because he felt that she was tricking him. But she technically was like, I wasn't like hiding it. You just never
Yeah,
asked.
you're just dumb. Like you just didn't see.
You're
That's,
just
that's not on
stupid.
me.
Hi, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Dell.
And this is the Black Catch-Up, where we're catching up on iconic black media we missed out on in our more conservative religious childhood.
All right. All right. So today we had a bit of a new one.
Yep.
Passing.
It's on Netflix and IMDb. Passing follows the unexpected reunion of two high school friends whose renewed acquaintance ignites a mutual obsession that threatens both of their carefully constructed realities. So, yeah. And for anyone curious as to what passing is, even though it's pretty self-explanatory, it's basically a phenomenon that happened in like the 1920s and around that time. And it refers to African Americans who had skin colors light enough to be perceived as white. So they were passing.
All right.
So, yeah, if you don't know what passing means. Again, it's a pretty self-explanatory term. But
Yeah. All right. So as usual,
let's get into
start
this.
off with things we liked. Yeah.
Yes.
Guess you
I'll
want to
kick this one off. Yeah. So the first scene, I loved the tension in the scene when Renee finds out that Claire is married to a white man. When they first, after they first meet at that little club scenario, like day club or whatever.
Yeah.
And they, go up to Claire's room and her husband comes in and Renee realizes that's a white man and he, fully does not know that Claire is black. He, doesn't know even a little bit. Just that tension in that scene. And it was just played so beautifully of Claire kind of leaning into her husband and being like, yeah, he calls me Nig. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just the whole tension of that scene, I could eat it with a spoon. It was beautiful.
Yeah. I guess kind of piggybacking off that, another scene that had a lot of tension, same, I forget what the white husband's name was, John or Joe or
Yeah,
something like
it's John, I think.
John, yeah. That scene where he meets Renee again at the end and that handshake, when I tell you I felt uncomfortable for the next 5-10 minutes of the movie, I was like, wow, that was done very
I saw that and I was
beautifully.
like, oh my God, I know I'm safe in my own home, but my good God.
Yeah. That one hurt me too,
That was so tense.
Yeah, I thought the acting across the board was just really good. People just did a good job using facial expressions to kind of show things.
Yeah.
And then I guess this is kind of combining one of my other points. I thought the score combined with uses of silence and use of having kind of faded voices in the background in some scenes. I thought all that came together really nicely to again convey that emotion, that tension in some of these scenes.
Yeah. I loved it. It was I like the style of the movie in particular. This was done in black and white, and I think that did a really good job of helping to emphasize the color difference between the people who were able to pass versus just the black people who weren't able to pass. I thought that was really well done. And the acting, you slightly mentioned it, but the acting across the board was so wonderful. Tessa Thompson, who is Renee, she did such a great job of kind of portraying the nuance that she had in her relationship with Claire, where she's kind of obsessed with Claire and loves her a little bit, but also is jealous of her and hates her and wants to be near her, but also wants her to stay away from her family and the life she's created, and kind of her slight gatekeeping of black people and you wouldn't like this jazz club because you're busy passing this whole time, and just the questions that the passing brings up. I think it was all done really, really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. There were just so many layers of all the thoughts kind of going through Renee's head about, okay, this is a girl who's, we're more or less the same skin complexion in the movie. Because I also had the black and white point down. I think the choice to put the film in that really did highlight that hey, we are just playing a black and white game to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But But yeah, no, I agree. Like she did a great job of just kind of like showing all those different layers of like, oh, like I want to be like her at times. Like there's times I wish I could pass, but at the same
Yeah.
time I love my blackness. I love my family, and
Yeah.
like I see what she has. Like I assume she's happy, but she clearly wants what I have, and I want to like have her around so she can see it, but I don't want her too close. Like there was just so
Yeah.
much of that I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought it did a very good job of all that.
especially when it came to Renee's husband, whose name I fully just don't know.
No.
Just that relationship of her like loving her husband, but then when Claire comes in, she like has jealousy because again they are kind of the same. They kind of like can both pass, and Renee kind of
Mm-hmm.
does say that she met John the only time he's like the only one who's caught her while she's been passing like as a white woman, just like
Yeah.
that whole his like kind of almost twisted triangle with Claire, but he kind of doesn't know they're in a triangle. Just this was a very big unspoken movie where all the
Mm-hmm.
conflict was pretty interpersonal and like internal. So it wasn't like people running around like shooting at each other or like fighting or anything like that. It was very much you got the conflict from like the little like voice like different nuances in how people spoke and
Mm-hmm.
how like one glance might be looking a little too long and you can kind of see something behind their eyes that just wasn't quite right, like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think that's why the acting just like had to be so top notch, and it really was because it wasn't like they weren't telling us anything. You kind of just had to like find the conflict almost, if that makes
Yeah,
any
yeah.
sense.
No, so much of it was in the face, like you said,
Yeah.
like those little like side eyes, those little glances, those little like eye rolls at times, like
Yeah.
no, so much of it was in the face.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I don't think I had anything else specific. Um,
The only other thing I can say, but I don't know what this means, but just the ending was absolutely insane.
oh yeah, no, that was the one where I like sat there in silence for a good 15, 20
I was
minutes
like,
and just kind of
did
thought. I was like,
is this what I think just happened? Like, is
yeah,
this really what
yeah.
happened? Just the
No, I,
ending
I
was
like how they
absolutely
kept it
insane.
in mystery for a little bit too. Like there was kind of the
Yeah.
flash of like you see like her hand slip against her or something,
Yeah.
and then you kind of like don't really know what happened. I thought the husband got stabbed or something.
So did I.
But
Because he kind of like freezes for a bit, and you're like, the way he's kind of hunched over, you don't quite
mhm,
know. But
yeah.
yeah, that ending was
And honestly,
freaking
even
insane.
now, like we still don't actually know if she like fell or was pushed by the husband.
Yeah, we still
You
don't
know?
know.
Like I kind of like how they left that unanswered. Like of course I want an answer, but
Yeah.
beautiful
was-
choice to leave it unanswered.
Yeah. So,
Um,
negatives.
Yeah. Um, I guess. Let me see. Wait, let me see what I have here. um. Yeah. I guess you can start. Hold on. I can't read my notes.
Oh, I can't because I didn't really have any negatives. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, there was one character. Oh, okay. That's what I wrote. Okay, the writer character, the old guy who like wrote a bunch of books.
Yes.
I wasn't really sure his like larger role in the plot. I feel like he showed up a lot, but I didn't really understand his larger role in the movie.
I thought his role
Um,
was kind of like he kind of had a toe in both worlds almost, where he was like
Okay,
white,
yeah.
but he also so like he kind of could threaten Claire's stance as a passing woman, but he also was like known by the black people. That's what I assumed his role was.
Yeah. I kind of took him as because I think there was that comment of like when they first went to the club, like yeah, it's a lot of black people here, but some white people like to come to live the fantasy or whatever they
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
I kind of took him as an example of that, but I felt like he kept coming up a lot in the movie.
I think he was living the fantasy, and I think that kind of was maybe why he kept popping up.
hmm Yeah, and I guess him and Renee were friends, and Claire like had that like Claire had read all his books.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I just wish I like understood why he was like what his significance was a little more beyond like the being an example of someone wanting to live the fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
kind of get that.
and then the other thing I had, I wish we got more scenes with the white husband, like those like uncomfortable
I do
scenes.
too. I will say, yeah.
Like it came so hot in the beginning that I kind of wanted that the whole movie. But
Yeah.
I did end up liking the direction the movie took. Like I think halfway
Yeah.
through I was kind of getting annoyed with the whole like love triangle subplot, but I think the way it ended, I did end up appreciating it a lot. So
Yeah.
I just wish there was a little more of the husband in there. But
No, I could see you wanting. I could see why you would want more of the husband, especially because he's like one of the direct foils to Claire, and like
Mm-hmm.
her way of life of being a white woman when she's not.
Yeah. But yeah, that was all I had.
All right.
Ratings
Now
time.
we get into ratings.
Yeah, I guess you want to go first.
Sure. Maybe surprising. I gave this movie a 5 out of 5. I just really enjoyed it. I thought the acting was so wonderful. And I think it would be a really good movie to watch again and again. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
just because so much of it is shown and through like tiny microfacial expressions and like the slight tilts of voices and stuff like that. It'd be really fun to like watch it again to just like see if you catch anything new or like any
Mm-hmm.
more like different style changes and the specific like deliberate choices that the actors made. I think that'd be really interesting to watch. And yeah, I just really enjoyed the story. I really liked it. So much so that when it came time to like find things I didn't like, I was like, I don't know. I really liked
Mm-hmm.
it. Not, and like the fact that it was kind of like almost a silent movie without being a silent movie, I thought that really added to it too.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I give this one a 4. I actually really enjoyed this one a lot too.
Yeah.
Like, again, like same reasons you said. Like, it was just a very good, like, very intriguing plot line. Again, like the acting was very good. The use of like facial expressions and those like kind of silent things just being understood in the movie.
Yeah.
Um, and I also think like you, like there was a lot of like stuff that I might have missed. Like I think this was a
Oh,
very like
definitely. I
concise
know.
movie where like
Yeah.
every scene was needed. Every piece of dialogue was like somewhat important. Like it just felt like a very concise movie where you really can't look away. And of
Yeah.
course, like as most people do when they watch a movie, they do miss things. So like
Yeah.
this was also another movie I would like to watch again or would watch
Yeah.
again. So yeah, very good
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. All right.
And
Final question. Do you wish you saw
yeah,
this sooner? We might have to have a different final question when it's like a newer movie, but we haven't
yeah.
thought of that yet, so we get this question still.
Yeah, I feel like I've been kind of answering like, do you wish the movie was made sooner, kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I say, yeah, I think we could stand to have more, I guess, I'll call this like a period movies with black
Mm-hmm,
people. Definitely with darker skinned black people too. Because the whole
mm-hmm.
point of this movie was it's a lighter skinned black person who can pass. So I definitely think we should like also make sure that we reach across the aisle and let like darker skinned black people get these opportunities. But it's so much fun seeing a more period piece and it not be slavery
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
like really awful like Jim Crow, climb every mountain, we shall overcome, singing Negro spirituals in the church. Like, it's nice to just see. Like, granted, this was its own separate conflict, but
Mm-hmm.
it was nice, kind of like almost having white people problems, is what I will call
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
where it's like your problem is kind of like just the problem that's happening right now instead of the problem happening right now plus discrimination, racism, slavery, all that good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
There were
No,
like
I'd agree.
nuances of that, but it was like a white people problem movie, and that's what I want black people to have more of.
Yeah, yeah. And I think kind of like I guess adding or maybe similar, I think this is like a different movie in the sense that like a lot of these black films are like more so comparing like black versus white experience, where I think this one
Yeah.
was more of this comparing the different shades of black in
Yeah, yeah,
terms of an
yeah, yeah,
experience.
yeah.
So like I do wish like a lot more movies touched on this kind of more like colorism thing rather than just like a
Yeah.
straight up like racism. So in that sense, I do wish
Yeah.
we had more movies like this
Yeah.
made earlier.
Yeah. So that was passing.
That was passing. YouTube housekeeping, like, comment, subscribe.
Ring the bell for notifications. If you have any movie suggestions for us, you can leave them in the comments down below. We do movies on Tuesdays and Fridays. All of our social medias will be in the description box down below, and we'll see you next time to catch up. Bye. All right.
Cool, cool.
Passing. This was a
Yeah,
really good
Passing was a
movie.
good one.
So I have the second 5. Or like
The
not the
what?
second 5, but I've given 2 5s so far.
Oh yeah, what was the first one?
The first one I gave a 5 to was Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then you gave a 5 to Monsters Ball.
That's a,
I normally react every time I see his cat, and the reason I'm not is because Dell had his FaceTime video off the entire time we were recording our episodes. So I didn't know he was showing off the cat until I started editing. That's why it might look weird.
Mouse as well. Yeah, I don't know if I gave. Is that the only 5 I've given out?
That's the only 5 you've given out.
Okay.
I only know because I do I do like the editing, so I know like what stars I typically pull.
Yeah, yeah.
And typically when we like a movie, we don't get higher than like a 4, maybe 4.5 if we really liked it.
No, it's rare for those like 4.5 5s that come out.
Yeah.
This is a really good one though.
This was really good. I
like
really
this one a
enjoyed
lot.
it. Yeah.